Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today we're going to be talking about Ibrahim Traore. Now, I'm hearing news that there's been, I don't even know which number of coup attempt has this been. Coup attempt number 15? I don't even know, man. I've lost count, I'll be honest with you. And it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. But anyways, take a look up on the screen from Burkina 24. New revelations on a destabilization maneuver in Burkina Faso. A sum of 5 billion CFA francs recovered in cash. Now, 5 billion CFA francs, I believe in USDs, that would be about a little over $8 million. Now, let's continue. An individual was arrested on Friday, November 8th, 2024 in Ouagadougou, that's the capital, at the time that he was handing over 5 billion CFA francs in cash to soldiers who pretended to accept his coup plan. Now, essentially, this was a sting operation. And first things first, I just want to say salute to Traoré's men for their loyalty, because at the end of the day, I know we like to talk about the influence that the foreign actors may have on the situation, but behind the curtain, the hidden hands. But at the end of the day, a foreign power cannot carry out their plans unless they have an inside collaborator, unless they have somebody working on the inside on their behalf. And that's why it's always going to be of the utmost importance for black men to display loyalty, display integrity, and always maintain a united front against our adversaries. In this situation, you have a group of soldiers who are approached with $8 million, right? $8 million, probably more money they've ever seen in their life, right? They're just some regular soldiers in Burkina Faso. $8 million, that's some life-changing money if you're just a regular soldier in the Burkina Faso military. Put it like this, $8 million will be life-changing money for a regular soldier in the American military. So imagine for a regular guy in the Burkina Faso military. And let's say it was multiple people involved in this project and they had to split the money multiple ways. Even if it was just $1 million a piece, $2 million a piece, that's a lot of money still for a local guy in Burkina Faso to have. So for those brothers to stand on integrity and reject the money and report it to the superiors and arrest the culprits and the suspects, I got to salute my brothers for their loyalty and their integrity and not taking that money. It would have been a lot of brothers that would have took that $8 million and went and bought some Gucci, went and bought some, went and bought some Fendi, went and bought some, some alligator shoes or some stupid shit. Anyway, let's continue.
Friday, authorities in Ouagadougou intercepted a staggering amount of cash, 5 billion CFA francs, or approximately $8.2 million, in the possession of a man attempting to bribe soldiers into supporting a coup against Traoré's administration.
A destabilization project worth 5 billion CFA francs. Well, the soldiers played along with the bearer of this destabilization project until his arrest. The ill-intentioned individual was finally caught yesterday with his suitcases full of banknotes.
Now, as somebody who has studied the history of the black man for as long as documented history has been documented, I can say that betrayal is a recurring theme when you look at the historical narrative of the black man. Brother going against brother, best friend going against best friend, son going against father, father going against son, uncle going against nephew. Throughout history, there's an innumerable amount of black men that have faced betrayal from within their own ranks. Yes, we can talk about the foreign actors. Yes, we can talk about the external manipulators. But at the end of the day, like I said, if they don't have an infiltrator from the inside, then they are ineffective from the outside. Now, from what I can tell, there seems to be some type of conflict between Ibrahim Traore and the previous president that was removed from power by Traoré and his men. And the previous president was Paul Henry Damiba, and that's the guy to the left right here. The guy on the left, that's ex-president Damiba, and to the right, that's Traoré. And Traoré overthrew Damiba back in 2022, right? Humiliated him. And recently I heard that Traoré actually expelled him from the army and removed all his rank. So this guy was basically humiliated and ran out of the country. Now, when Damiba came to power in 2022, I never made any videos about the guy because I felt like he was in the pocket of some foreign powers. When he came to power, he pretty much maintained the status quo. He didn't really take any radical measures. He didn't kick out the French military. He didn't kick out any French companies. He didn't really do anything of substance, really. I heard he was just up in the presidential palace, drinking alcohol and having sex with beautiful women. And I believe that's part of the reason why Ibrahim Traore and his men actually removed him from power, because while everybody else was on the front line fighting against the Islamic jihadists, he was up in the presidential palace, drinking Ciroc and, smashing shorties, in his private quarters. And then sometime in 2022, about 2 years ago, take a look up on the screen, Paul Henry Damiba has been pushed out by military captain. This was an article from 2 years ago. And the military captain, that was Ibrahim Traore. Now, take a look up on the screen. Damiba agrees to resign. Take a look up on the screen. The ousted Burkina Faso leader leaves the country for Togo. So Ibrahim Traore overthrew this guy and drove him out the country, humiliated him, left in absolute disgrace. And obviously, when Traore came to power, he was seen as the people's champion, right? Started the construction of a gold refinery, took 2 gold mines back from the Europeans, recently finished the establishment of a hospital, placed laws on the books for the kids to go to school in their traditional African attire, changed the curriculum of the school to a more African-centered curriculum away from the European colonial curriculum, heavily increased the military capacity of the army by acquiring more military technology, acquiring more drones, acquiring more planes, acquiring more armored vehicles, acquiring more weapons, right? In a very short time, he was seen as the people's champion. And meanwhile, Damiba was driven out the country in humiliation and disgrace. But like I said before, this was not the first, the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth coup attempt against the administration of Ibrahim Traore. But one of the major ones actually occurred back in 2023, back in September. And I did make a video about it at the time, right? Take a look up on the screen. 4 officers arrested in Burkina Faso as the military government thwarts a coup attempt. Now, if you take a look up on the screen, this guy right here was actually one of the individuals who was involved in that plot against the administration of Ibrahim Traore back in September of 2023. And he had went on the run for a couple weeks, but they caught up with him at his home or somebody's house, and they had a shootout, right? A shootout had occurred, and this guy was shot to death. I believe his name was Ismail Tohougbu. So yeah, this guy, he's dead right now, and he's been dead for, almost a year now. Take a look up on the screen. According to the military prosecutor's press release dated October 8th, 2023, the death of Commander Ismail Tohoogbu would have occurred following an arrest around 7 a.m. that would have gone wrong. The interested party, the statement continues, was the subject of a warrant to bring in connection with the attempt to undermine the security of the state. Opposing his arrest, the officer allegedly used his weapon, injuring a member of the arrest team who was admitted to a health center for appropriate care. In addition to this statement from the military prosecutor, some communicators of the circles of power also distilled certain information in the same trend, suggesting that the events took place at the commander's house. Now, from what I've been hearing, when you see all these coup attempts happening against Ibrahim Traore, a lot of people say that some of those working on the inside are those who were part of the previous administration, basically men who were under the leadership of Damiba. So some of Damiba's old men who were riding with him when he was in power, I'm hearing that it is those men who are stirring up unrest and trying to undermine the regime. In fact, it was another coup attempt back in September, a few months ago of this year, which I believe Damiba was accused of playing a part in.
In a shocking turn of events, Burkina Faso's Minister of Security, Mahamadou Sana, made a televised announcement on national television revealing the dismantling of a vast network aiming to destabilize Burkina Faso. This network involved former high-profile figures, including the former head of state, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Sandaogo Damiba, who referred to himself as the Patriarch, and was to lead the military component of the project. The first attack, a precursor to this operation, occurred in Basalgo on Saturday, August 24, 2024, and was intended to massacre as many civilians as possible to create chaos and despair, thereby shaking the entire nation and facilitating the execution of their main action.
Now, there were obviously more than 2 attempts at overthrowing the administration of Ibrahim Traore, but those were just the 2 that were the most major, in my opinion. The one in September 2023 and the one recently a few months ago in August 2024. Now, according to internal military investigations, the most recent attack back in August was said to have been a collaborative effort between former President Damiba as well as some local terrorist groups on the ground, and apparently financed by some anonymous Western forces. And after the discovery of this information, Ibrahim Traore expelled Damiba from the army and removed his rank. Take a look up on the screen. The military government of Burkina Faso expels the former coup leader Damiba from the army. the country's former transitional president has been accused of spearheading a vast conspiracy against the incumbent, Ibrahim Traore. The former transitional president of Burkina Faso, Lieutenant Colonel Paul Damiba, who led the country from January to September 2022, and 14 other officers have been dismissed from the armed forces. The decision, made official by decree signed by President Captain Ibrahim Traoré, was made public on Monday evening. They were dismissed for misconduct deemed particularly serious, including actions harmful to military dignity and reputation. According to the decree dated October 30th, 2024, the charges include intelligence actions with a foreign power and terrorists aimed at favoring their enterprises against Burkina Faso. Regarding the extradition of former President Paul-Henri Damiba, exiled in Togo since early October 2022 and involved in the Barcelago terrorist attack, President Ibrahim Traoré hopes for the extradition by the Togolese authorities. Now, take a look up on the screen. I believe this article came out in the last couple of days. Burkina Faso military regime aims to reinstate the death penalty. I salute it. I respect it. I'm with it. Now, one thing we have to talk about is the culture of jealousy and competition amongst black men that leads to these internal power struggles that we have observed throughout history. Even when you examine African history, going all the way back to the pre-colonial times, the ancient times, when the black man was on top, it was still full of these internal power struggles. And obviously, I know these are not unique to the black man. These power struggles have occurred on every continent, amongst every group of men. But obviously, in this video, we're talking about black men. And one thing we have to understand is black men must respect hierarchy. Black men must stop being jealous of each other and looking at each other as competition, instead of looking at each other as allies fighting the same fight. But one of our main weaknesses that we have is that it's always one of us amongst the ranks that wants to be the number one guy. He doesn't respect the hierarchy, right? He wants to be the one in power. He wants to be the one who's the head honcho. He doesn't want to be the number 2 guy or the number 3 guy. Going all the way back to the first coup d'etat that occurred on the African continent after the colonial period. I believe that was the president of Togo, Sylvanus Olympio. When he came to power, he wanted to break away from the Western powers. He wanted to establish his own currency independent of the Western economy. He wanted to diversify his partnerships instead of being directly tied to France, instead of being directly tethered to France. And then what happened? You had a jealous, traitorous, and treasonous black man by the name of Eyadema Yasingbe, who took part in a plot to overthrow him and then assume power for himself. And of course, the Western powers backed his regime for decades upon decades and decades, right? We've seen similar stories play out with Thomas Sankara, right? He was betrayed by his best friend, Blaise Compaoré. And then, of course, what happened? The Western powers weaponized that weakness within the circle and then placed their support behind the regime of Blaise Compaoré, and he stayed in power for a very, very long time. We've seen a similar situation play out with Marcus Garvey. That was the reason why Marcus Garvey was deported from the United States, because he had men within his inner circle who were collaborating with the FBI, serving as informants, which led to his arrest and his deportation. We've seen similar situations play out with Malcolm X. Yes, we do know the FBI admitted to playing a role in the assassination of Malcolm X, but still, the FBI weaponized the weakness within the inner circle, right? Weaponized the fact that there were black men who were jealous of the greatness in Malcolm X, jealous of the magnetism of Malcolm X, jealous of probably the attention he got from the women, jealous of the fact that whenever Malcolm walked into the room, everybody was captivated by his presence, captivated by his intellect. So, a lot of black men in the Nation of Islam at the time, they were jealous of Malcolm. They were jealous of the greatness of that black man. And of course, they allowed themselves to be weaponized by external forces behind the scenes to eliminate the good brother from this earth. So one thing the black man must understand is the black man must not be so consumed by jealousy that he loses sight of the bigger picture just to assume power for himself. That's one of the bigger weaknesses that black men have, that jealousy. When you see another black man who is higher than you on the hierarchy, right? Where you feel like you should be in his position, where you don't feel that he deserves his status or position. And in fact, it reminds me of a clip that I've seen, an interview I've seen with Tony Yayo. Everybody knows that, Tony Yayo is 50 Cent's right-hand man, 50 Cent's best friend since they were 11, 12 years old. And they was asking Tony Yayo, how come you never got jealous of 50? You were always able to play your position, play your role. You never wanted to outshine 50. You were never jealous of the attention that 50 got. You never tried to undermine 50. They was asking him how come you've been so loyal to 50 this whole time, right? Everybody else betrayed 50, stabbed him in the back, but you always been his right-hand man, never heard any negative thing about you. So I'm gonna run that clip, and I'm gonna be right back. Now, keep in mind, in this clip, they're talking from a street perspective. So, don't mind the strong language. Just, understand that they talking from a street perspective, but it's still relevant to this discussion. Run the footage. I'll be right back.
Look. Remember who turned the lights on. That's all I'm saying to you.
Right.
That's it. We could have made way more money. Nigga came with the G not shit, because what always happen when niggas get money? What's my man name? I like this guy.
Bigger.
What happened when drug dealers, Harlem was getting all that money? Somebody got paid. He fucking more bitches than me. He get more money than me. His chain bigger than me. That's the problem with us. I never was like that.
Now, like I said, man, black men gotta respect hierarchy. Black men gotta respect hierarchy. It's okay to not be the number one guy. It's okay to be the number two guy. Everybody can be the head honcho. Everybody can be the chief, bro. Everybody can be the chief. But one thing we have to understand is, like I said before, we have to stop looking at each other as competition and look at each other as allies. That's the thing we got with our mentality. The black man looks at the next black man as competition or potential opposition instead of looking at him as a potential ally fighting the same fight. This mentality even stretches to a macro level between nations, right? Because instead of nations collaborating for mutual benefit, you see a lot of nations, battling each other and undermining each other, right? That's what fueled the slave trade, the arms race that was happening during the slave trade, where each kingdom tried to arm themselves to be more militarily powerful than the next one. And that's also the root of tribalism, because you're looking at each other as potential competition or opposition instead of realizing that we have a lot of common mutual interests and mutual adversaries. So we should collaborate instead of trying to fight amongst each other or battle amongst each other for supremacy. So like I said, man, black men gotta respect hierarchy and understand that we get way farther through collaboration instead of confrontation. Now, anyways, man, it's your boy Never Car. That's Salim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace. They gon' be talking and tweeting about us. Stay to myself, I don't be around them. So introverted, I'm in the mountains, making these hits and I'm money count. Wake up each morning, I'm feeling power. I'ma get money and make a shower. Shorty a diamond, she went to Howard. When I'm up in the booth, I got superpowers. Do it myself and I'm feeling major. Don't hit me back when you need a favor. Back on my business like fuck a hater. Started my business like fuck a label. Work for myself and I'm never changing. Step in the game and I rearrange it. Chosen a call, I gotta take it. Put that shit on my life, we gotta make it. I done been before, I've been at the top. Been at the bottom, I've been having knots. Heart of a king, like I'm up in Kemet. You talking about queens, I got me a lot. Energy ancient, came out of Nubia. Tell the invaders, they better get props. Hop on the track, and nigga be schooling them. Now they be watching to see what I got. I'ma go call me a mansion. Apology given, cause I'm breaking hearts. I know I'm too different to manage. She want my commitment, she want me involved, but I ain't conforming to standards. I'm trying to get rich, my vision imperial with a polygamous fashion. I'm trying to be living so lavish. Original man, they call it primordial. Play with the team, they planning memorials. Blessed with the game, I'm giving tutorials. Pain in my heart, it's feeling precordial. Bet they gon' fuck with the vision. I might go start a religion, I might go start a division. Call it the sovereign imperial secretive order. Taking it over the water, hopping on planes. I don't be up on the corner. I'ma be linking with bosses up in the office, in the executive quarters. I might go hop in the belly, hop in the rolls, chilling with somebody's daughter. I be avoiding the fame, diving in shorty, that pussy be feeling like water. Yeah.